Hey, and welcome back. Another lovely Saturday morning here in the Yucatan. We're in the tiny Moto garage and we're looking at the Carabella again, and we have hit a bit of a snag. So one of the reasons why I wanted to do the Carabella is because it was a fairly simple machine. The idea, we were going to do a restoration, which is going to be strip the bike, take the parts off, modify a few parts, put the parts back, and go from there and learn as we go. It's turning into a little bit more than that, as I think a lot of these restorations do, in that quite a lot of this stuff is broken, and it's broken to the point where I'm not sure if it can be fixed. And the entire front end of the motorcycle is like that. We knew we had a problem with the wheel hub because I made a video on that, which I'll link. We knew we had a problem getting oil seals for the forks, which I've now got over, but they're not the right ones. I basically hacked some in there. They'll probably work for light use, but they're not by any means perfect. So I don't love that because I don't like doing things half-assed. But we kind of got it together and it's sort of working. But now we found two more problems. Problem number one is the fact that the entire triple just doesn't go together. I found out why. There is a snapped off piece of wood in the forks. So thanks to Paul Brody for putting me down that route. He's got a fantastic channel with millions of subscribers and I have none. So I don't know why I'm plugging him. But anyway, yeah, we've got a problem. I'm going to grab the camera and put you closer in. But we're in a position now where the top and bottom triples are possibly compromised. The forks are compromised. The seals are not great. The wheel hub is not brilliant because it's a home-baked repair. And also the wheel axle, and I'm going to show you this in detail as well, is downright dangerous. To the point where what's keeping the wheel on is approximately 1/4 millimeter of steel that's cracked. So yeah, a couple of problems. I'm going to edit in some closer views on all this stuff. I'm not going to get beaten. The plan right now is I'm going to repair all this. I'm going to put it back together. But the truth is I'm not going to trust the front end of this bike at all. So what I'm going to have to do, I think, is find another front end from a different bike to replace this one. I'm going to fix it because it's experience and this is why I'm doing it. But like I said, I won't trust this front end. So we're going to have to find another bike that we can transplant the front end of that onto this and have more confidence in the front end, because I'll ride this thing, but nobody else will. Because if it falls apart, I don't mind if I get injured, but I'd be very upset if somebody else did. So that's where we are. Project continues. It's going to be fine. One way or another, we're going to get it finished. But yeah, it's not easy, and I suspect a lot of these projects go that way. Yeah, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because I did a whole video on it, but this is the front wheel, and here, hopefully you can see, there is a repair that I did with a braze, but it is not, it's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. There's a crack going through. So this hub is not very strong. And on a trials bike, that's not good because a front wheel takes a huge amount of abuse. So there's another problem that we've got with the front. Okay, slightly better view. This is the big problem. So what you've got here is the top and bottom triple, or yokes as I call them, whatever. And you've got, quite clearly, this tube going into the correct area, this steering tube going into the correct area, and this tube is nowhere near. The location is determined by this, which is the bottom triple. Now, the top one is aluminum. The bottom one is steel, and it's thick steel. So you can't reposition this tube in any way. There's just no movement in it at all. So the only real way that I've got to make that go in there, which is where it's supposed to go, is to file out this area. Now there are pinch bolts, you can see they go through there, and these are the pinch bolts. There's one right here. So it may be okay, but it also may not be, which is going to cause another issue. So, like I said, the last time they did it, I believe what they did is they forced it. They used this, which is a piece of broom handle. And you can see, broom handles, according to Paul Brody, who I watch all the time, he's got a great channel, they actually screw the broom handle into the top and use it to draw the tube upwards to compress the spring. That makes a whole bunch of sense to me. Now these springs are not very, there's one over here, these springs are not particularly strong, to be honest, you know, so I think I can overcome that. The way this sheared tells me that somebody was putting lateral force on it, and that's what they did. So they put this thing in here, and they yanked on it and cranked on it until they finally got that tube in here, and then this broke off, came down the tube, and lived there for decades. So there you go. That's the problem, and it's not an easy one. So here's a nice view of the one end of the axle, and the only thing keeping this wheel on is this bit of material right there, which I would say is a fraction of a millimeter. Because if this pin here blows through this way, this cap comes off and the wheel comes off. So yeah, that's not good. So onwards and upwards, let's go from there, and we'll see you next time.